down the line. Okay, now that we have finished that, we are ready to get into WHMCS and begin configuring that so we can begin accepting orders. So I'm going to log in, and I'm going to use the credentials that Daryl made for us earlier. Okay, now as soon as I log in, for the first time, I get this Getting Started wizard. Now, if you've closed it out, you can also access it from Help, Setup Wizard, and it goes right back to here. Now, it's important, if this is your first time using WHMCS, that you go through this setup wizard. It just really helps you make sure that you don't miss any of those essential steps that will cause you problems down the road. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this Getting Started wizard. Then after we're finished, we're going to go through and make some manual changes as well. But this will make sure that we get the most important things done correctly. And then that way we can go back and then configure a little bit more of the nitty-gritty after we go through this. So I'm just going to click on Next. And the first thing it wants is our hosting company name. So Daryl entered Web Hosting Company when he did the WordPress tutorial, or when he did the WordPress and WHMCS installation. So I'm just going to keep it that. Logo, you can upload your logo for your company here. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. If you're having one made, you can go back and upload it later on. So I'm not going to upload one. I don't have one right off the top of the bat, so I'm just going to leave that be. Email address, this is going to be the email that's used as a sender for all emails. So at NameHero, we use contact at NameHero, but you can use billing, admin, system, whatever, but you just need to make sure you have access to this email itself. Just in case a customer would hit reply and reply back to a message that the WHMCS has sent, that it would come back to you and you would be able to help them out. Next is the address. This is going to be your physical address that's going to be on all of the invoices that you send. So I recommend, if you don't have a physical office, you probably don't want to use your home address. So I recommend going to the UPS store and maybe getting a PO box, or just having an address to where you can put on your invoices. If you're running a business, you might have a business address, or you might have a virtual office that you can use. But you definitely need to put a physical address in this field here, so you have it for your invoices. For me, I'm just going to enter my office address. Okay, so from here I want to select country, United States, where I am, and language is English. So now we'll go to next. And again, you can edit that information at a later time. So if you're like, I'm not sure right now, Ryan, you can leave address and enter address here, and you can go back and edit that later. And I'll show you where to get to that. Okay, the next is you're going to set up how you accept payments. So by far, the most popular payment gateway out there, especially for the hosting industry, is PayPal. Most everyone has a PayPal account nowadays because of its popularity, along with eBay and many other merchants that accept it. So if you have a PayPal email address, then you want to enter it inside of here. Now, if you want to make a new one for your business, so maybe you have a personal PayPal that you use, but you don't want your business payments being sent there, then you can just enter your business address here. And once you get your first payment, it will then ask you to create your account to claim the money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use billing at nameherotutorialforyou.com. So I'm just going to use this address as my PayPal email address. And then when I get my first payment, it's going to shoot me an email saying, hey, you've got a payment. Click here to get the payment, and then you can complete your registration. So PayPal has really came a long way allowing you to do that. I think they're really copying off of how Stripe's simple setup is, because they want people to use their platform. Next is for a merchant account. WHMCS has teamed up with a merchant account so that you can automatically apply for one inside of WHMCS. Now, I'm a big fan of Stripe, because instead of merchant accounts, you have all these fees involved. You have a fee, processing fees, maybe a setup fee, and maybe a monthly fee. And I'm not quite sure who the affiliate is with WHMCS here, so I'm not sure of the fees. Now, if you want to use them, by all means, you can go ahead and do that. But I personally don't recommend it. Next is to mail in payments. I also do not recommend this. Now, maybe if you're a local web agency, or maybe your customers are local and you want the ability for them to mail you in a check for their hosting, you can do this. But from my experience in the industry, you're going to run across a lot of bad actors doing that. You're going to run across some fraudulent transactions and a bunch of stuff. So I don't recommend enabling that. Okay, so next is domains. By far the biggest upsell in web hosting is domain registrations and transfers, because in order for someone to have a web hosting package, they have to have a domain. And if they already have a domain, they might need to transfer that domain in. So of course you want to enable this because it's going to provide you a additional revenue stream for your business. Now at NameHero, all of our corporate reseller account packages come with a 100% free Enom reseller account. So if you're not familiar with Enom, Enom is one of the biggest domain resellers out there. Popular brands such as Namecheap actually use Enom for the back end to sell some of their domains. So basically they'll handle all the certifications and stuff required to sell domains, but you will be a reseller of theirs, meaning you pay a wholesale price and then you can mark up the price of the domain registration. So with that said, you want to first select the popular TLDs, the top level domain extensions to get started. So the most popular ones, .com, .net, .org, .biz, and .info. Now I'll show you later on in this tutorial how to add more, because as I'm sure you're aware, there's all kinds of new TLDs out there. Now, this wants us to set a price. Now, as I said, that you're going to be paying Enom a price for their, you're going to pay Enom a price for their domain registrations, and then you're going to mark this up so you make money on the margin, so to speak. So I like to set this by default at $14.95. Later on in this tutorial, we'll go through and I'll show you how to price each TLD individually based on what you're paying. With this domain reseller account, this free one, I believe the cost to a .com is around $10 a year. So marking it up to $14.95, you're going to make almost $5 per .com domain registration. But we'll go through each one of these individually later in this tutorial. Okay, now again, this comes with a free Enom account, so you just want to click Enable and go to Next. Okay, when you do that, it's then going to ask you to create your account with Enom. So we're going to need to create this right quick. So I'm just going to do Ryan. So do Ryan Tester, and I'm going to stick with my same email I've been using, billing@NameHeroTutorialForYou.com. Once again, I'm going to that 1101 Walnut Street. Missouri. States, and then your phone number. Okay, now you have to set up a username. Now this username is going to be unique to you, but it has to be unique to the Enom system. So you want to make sure it's something that's probably different. You don't want to just use, like if I use Ryan Gray or Ryan Tester might be available, but Ryan Gray is probably taken. So we're just going to call this name tutorial, and we're going to set our password. Now, Enom doesn't allow special characters in their password, so just keep that in mind when you're doing that. We have to select security question, favorite vacation spots, one I like to do. That will help you recover your login if you lose it at a later date. So now we'll just click Next. Make sure we have everything in here correctly. This is actually going to pipe your information to Enom and create that account for you in real time. So once we get finished here, we can begin registering domains. Okay, so now we can see that we are ready to go with our Enom account. Next, we need to link up our reseller account with our WHMCS. So you can see it's still, it's asking us for a little bit more of information that we need to enter inside of here. So what I like to do is go back to my NameHero interface and get my welcome email, because all of this information is in the welcome email that we send you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my name here and click Email History. I'm going to go over here to my reseller account information email and click View Message. Now you're free to pull it up in your email as well, but this is just one place we archive all your emails, so you have access to this information very quickly. Okay, so I need to enter in my username and password. So let me just pull this over to another window real quick. And the first thing it's asking is my host name or my IP address. So if you would like, you can use the IP address of your account, which is right here. See where this control panel? This is that IP. But I like to instead pull it from right over in here in the client area. If I click on My Services, click on Corporate Hero, I like to give out this primary IP. And if you ordered the corporate reseller account, you're going to have this. And this is because this is a dedicated IP address that's just going to be for use by you and your customers. So we can use this one right here. Whoops. And paste it inside of here. And then we want to get our username. So I'm just going to pull this from my email. And just so you can see where I'm pulling it from. I'm pulling it from my new account information. My username is NameHero, and here's my password. So I'm just going to copy that. NameHero. Then we're going to paste that password in right here. Now you're going to click on Verify Connection, and you can see connection successful. The remaining details have been populated for you. So this is pretty cool. We've got all that in there. Now we need to re-put in this primary IP, copy, and then paste. Now, if you would like, you can also set this as the host name instead of the primary IP. It's all up to you, it's personal preference. But we also white label this at NameHero. So this is a question that we frequently get by resellers. So if you go here, you can see server name. We call this server is going to be specific depending on your account. So this is not going to be the same for everybody. So this server is simon.uswebhost.com. Now, if you go to uswebhost.com in your browser, it's just a blank white page. This way, we're able to white label the server name for you. So your customers will never see NameHero. And then you can explain this to them as US Web Host is just the domain we use to provision our servers. So if you would like, you can copy this over and go back into your WHMCS, and you can use this server host name. The benefit to that is this already has an SSL certificate installed on it, so you can make sure when your customers are connecting to cPanel that they have a secure certificate and they're all set. Okay, so now we will click Next. Okay, our setup has been completed. You're now ready to begin using WHMCS. Now there is an important piece of information here before we click Finish. Should you desire, you can run this wizard again at any time from the Help menu. So that's good. That's how we got back to it earlier. But this is important right here. And in my opinion, this should be put in red. Enom requires your server IP address for API access. So if you don't do this, then you're going to start getting errors when you go